Hi guys, welcome to Synapse Pod. Today we are back again with another super guest, and his name is Shubham Saini. He is a very dear friend, right from college, like school days actually, and like even before financial literacy or passive income was a key term on Instagram or among our life. He was a guy who was very clear in his mind back in the school days with a lot of gigs that he used to pull off. And even till date, he's been pulling off multiple gigs. And I'm always very proud of him sharing to my friends and family about him. And it's an honor to have him here. So over to you, Shubham. And of course, we have our usuals, Ayush, Paras,
What's
Manik, and Chirag joining
up?
in. And we'll have a super candid conversations of Shubham's journey today. So over to you, Shubham. Tell us about yourself.
Well, thanks, Avinash and everyone for inviting me here. Uh, that was quite an introduction. I've never heard about myself because you said about pulling so many gigs. I'm not sure what you were referring to, but yeah, always wanted to do business, right? And of course, was inspired with so many entrepreneurs, bidding into entrepreneurs around me, and that's how it started, right? Basically, if I can go back in time when I was a kid, I used to break down all the stuff like small cars, then try to bring things together. Although I couldn't, I was not that sharp like Avinash. I couldn't bring those things together. But yeah, I was more into like doing jugaad, let's say, right? And that is something which all of us, all of Indians, are very good at. And I've learned this from my father. Like, do things at your end, try things with your hand if you can fix, and then of course if you do not have enough expertise or if you couldn't fix them, then reach out to someone else for help. And I believe in that mantra that one should try at his own, try to fix stuff. So that's how it all started, right? What was your next question, Avinash?
So by gigs I meant that though many people try different things, but selling is something which is pretty, I would say, looked down upon in the early days, or kind of still people don't realize the value of how difficult selling is. So whether it was you who was being a referrer to coaching institutes, whether it was being an affiliate marketing person for Amway and other C2C startups, I like products. I was referring to those gigs, and by your journey we means like from your college to your various jobs that you have done, and now living in Germany, and how is the overall journey be like?
And I also think like since you've included selling, Shubham is underplaying. He's a great leader at Seller X, which is a crazy unicorn based out of Europe. So Shubham, much more about that as well. Would love to know what is happening there in the European ecosystem of tech.
And how did you transition from India to Germany, right? Like, and how did it go through?
Yeah, a little bit about my background. So I come from technical background, did my engineering back in India, and then I was working with SAP. SAP is a giant German company that manufactures ERP. Back then, like ERP was a thing, but now we, of course, as we all have transit to cloud systems. So SAP nowadays is calling itself as a cloud player. So I was working there 4 years as a developer, and I was pretty much inspired with the SAP, the way the things are being built, the kind of employees they hire, and the work-life balance they provide, right? But then sooner, but probably after 2 or 3 years, I realized that this is something which I cannot do for my entire life because I have to grow. I have to get out of my comfort zone and take probably some exposure. So I mean, and there were of course certain other reasons which I don't want to bring as of now. And then I thought, okay, let's move on. Let's do something. Ultimate goal was to start my own company, and I thought like, should I go for masters or MBA? And then I realized, ultimately I want to have my own company. MBA makes sense. So I moved to Germany, got into WHU. It's one of the best business schools here in Düsseldorf, did my MBA. And after MBA, the quick instinct was to start my own company, but then it was COVID, right? Everything was the whole economy and the thing in all the startups in Germany, I would say, they were facing um, outrage, right? No money and the situation. So I thought maybe it's good time to take some more experience, work in Germany, right? And I believe that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you should have enough exposure and you should have a runway, right? Enough money in your account so that you can survive a couple of months or years, depends. So I went straight into product management, right? No, no surprise over there. Coming from tech background, working closely with developers, I could understand them. And then this is a area where you need to have both business skills as well as technical skills. So the expertise to talk to stakeholders, get the requirements, make functional specs, and convert them into technical specifications, discuss with developers, and get things done. So I went into shipping industry, built cloud application, and was quickly able to build a team back in India. So that was a very interesting thing that happened to me. I met actually the founder of Code Agent. He's my alumni, so I met him in one of the party, and we were just discussing about technology. And I said, if you don't move into cloud, or if you don't digitalize all your processes, probably you will have to shut down your company in next 5 years. So he just went back home and he couldn't sleep that night. He's like, fuck, I will have to shut down my company in 5 years. So he called me next day, can you come and help me build system for me? I'm like, yeah, sure. And we set up a team in India, everything remote, right? Thanks to all the contacts I have in India, friends whom I can reach out for help. And within 8 months, we delivered our first cloud application. That was a success. And from there, I moved to my next journey, you can say, with SellerX. Back then, it was a very small company, just 6 months into the game. And I met the founder, Malte, on coffee, and we were discussing about his vision. And this guy was like already 10 years ahead in time, talking about how he want to digitalize everything, automate everything, the entire e-commerce. So little bit of background, what SellerX does is, SellerX is a big e-commerce company that aggregates sellers and brands. So for example, let's say uh, uh, Manik is selling a water bottle, water bottle product in India, and it's very popular. It's having more than 4.5 reviews or ratings, accumulative ratings on Amazon, and he's doing a yearly revenue of more than 1 million, let's say, right? Amazing product. So we will go through his product, do a due diligence, and if we like the product and if it fits our portfolio, we will acquire his brand and give him an exit. And most of the entrepreneurs, they are looking for an exit, right? And when we talk about entrepreneurs, it's not just those who are building tech, those who are doing a good business. There are so many small entrepreneurs around us, right? Even Panwala is an entrepreneur, right? He's selling pan. Depends, right? So Manik gets an exit, we acquire his business, and now we scale his business. We scale in two ways. We start selling his product to other geographies, not just in India. We take the product to China, we take the product to Europe and North America. And we also start selling Manik's product on different platforms, not just Amazon, let's say. We start selling on Flipkart, we start selling on Walmart, eBay, Kaufland, other e-commerce. Not just that, we also start building his own marketplace, right? His own, let's say, website or Shopify account where we can sell the product.
Shubham, is it also very category limited where you guys have expertise? Like, I've seen this kind of house of brands model, multiple folds in multiple geographies. So, what I've usually seen is they're not very category agnostic, they're very category focused. That depending on the background of the founders, is that something which you guys have also seen or is also part of your ethos?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, when we started, it's just that the founders are coming from Stanford. Not sure. It's Stanford, but yeah, Harvard or Stanford, and they had a good network. They could raise a good amount of money because this is capital intensive, right? You need to have funds to acquire someone, to acquire a business. And soon as they got the funds, we started acquiring. I remember in 2020, so this business model was started by Thrasio in 2017-18 in US. And then soon in next 2 or 3 years, this became like a fire, right? In every country, almost 3 to 4 unicorns coming out of it. We have Menza brand in India, right? We have
Yeah.
around 75 to 100 aggregators, and everyone was raising crazy amount
Crazily.
of money,
Yeah.
right? So there was a hype in the market that if you don't acquire now, you will lose out, and probably your competitor will acquire Berlin brands or some other brand. So we were like, let's acquire, let's acquire. We were just
Hmm.
going through due diligence, and within 1 year, you won't believe we acquired 30 brands.
Hmm.
All across all categories is what you're saying. Like,
Yeah, across many categories, not all categories, because if you go on Amazon, there are tons of categories. Even, there are subcategories within, let's say, baby products, cycle, right? What kind of cycle you're looking for. So we didn't restrict ourselves to any category, but of course, somehow it happened that we could get 2 or 3 brands, they were belonging in same category. Like we tried to make our own category structure so that we can categorize them, right? uh, Home products, baby products, as I said, technical products, gym products, and stuff like that. So back then it was it wasn't there in our mind that we're gonna acquire brands specifically. But now, as we grow, as we took some time to make a strategy for our future acquisitions, yes, we are focusing on some categories, and we want to build what we have acquired them as very renowned brands across the world.
Yeah. No, that is very exciting. Honestly, I think around 15 plus like VC backed aggregators were created in India as well, and it was literally a wave back in the day. And but yeah, so there are tons of questions coming from mind. I'm pretty sure Ayush and Paras will also come up with their own ideas of how brand works in India. But I would love to start it with difference between an Indian company versus a European company. What's the main cultural difference that you found, or overall difference that you found? If you can, bring that up for our audience.
I never worked for an Indian company. I was in
Oh,
India. I was
actually,
working with
yeah.
SAP. SAP
Hmm.
was SAP is, as I said, is a German company. So I never worked in an Indian company, uh, but I really loved working at SAP because there was never pressure. Of course, you can say that SAP is a big company. I was working with MNC. If you work with startup, it's a total different game. But here things are pretty relaxed. I mean, if you send a mail at 4:30, you will not get the answer next day. At night, no one gonna reply you. You'll probably get the answer next day at 9 a.m. So
Hmm.
that's the status. But yes, I mean, since now I'm in startup, uh, uh, not like SAP, things are pretty much similar to what things are in India. In here, we do work till 8, we do work till 9 sometimes, right? We do have a certain expectations to achieve, certain milestones to achieve. So it's very difficult for me to answer. Like, if you can help ask me some direct questions in which domain, or be very specific in your question, I might be able to answer, but to generalize, it's very different.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally get that. Of course, it's a very wide open question, but if you can pinpoint specifically about um, the planning or strategizing, so there's a lot of time thought about that. Europeans or any kind of, they think more in the future. It's a long term planning in place rather than a short term plan. But I don't know whether it again is a startup versus MNC thing or what. But I want to understand more from the strategic planning point of view as a culture in a way.
Okay, so here I would say one thing is there is no gray area. Either it's white or it's black, right?
Okay, that's very
So
racist to
yeah, I mean,
say.
either you do it or you don't do it.
Hmm.
It's not like in India we say we think, okay, let's see,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the thing here. Even if we are planning, we by the end of the meeting we have to take a call, we gonna do it or we drop this idea, right?
Okay.
And I think Indians, they try to procrastinate. They
Mm-hmm.
of course take a decision, but they try to procrastinate that let's discuss again, let's see, maybe in a week or a month, depending on
Mm-hmm.
of course the how grave the situation is. But here the Germans are very fast in terms of coming to conclusion.
Okay, sorry, I'm again hijacking the entire discussion, but like we had a discussion once about the fact that the way a minimum viable product is created across US versus, so US has a lot of, India has a lot of influence of US startup
Hmm.
ecosystem. So US versus European, if I can bring it up specifically, that fail fast to find your PMF is a very rewarded and awarded strategy in the US. But as you were discussing once, that people literally strive for perfection, which can lead to catastrophic results because you might lose the time or you might not understand the market. So I was coming from that point of view as well. That is achieving the perfect product in the first go, and I think even pivoting or failure is not something which is looked upon in the European ecosystem, right?
Yeah, if you go here to raise some funds, and if you're talking to any investor, let's say, uh, and if you tell him that I have failed a couple of times in Germany, right, no one will invest in you.
Oh.
Versus US, if you say I've failed 5 times, he's like, yeah, you are still here, right? You are still here even after failing 5 times. So I'm putting the money in you, not in the product, maybe something like that. But
Hmm.
here it's a different atmosphere. Here you don't want your product or yourself to fail at the first, because then no one will invest in you.
Oh, that's very strange. Like, it's much better than that in India, from what I know. Like, if you've had a single or a couple of failed ventures, it's fine. I mean, people know that you have made your set of mistakes.
I think, and that's why India is growing faster than Germany, I would say, in terms of.
Probably. Does it come from the culture, like how people are raised there, how families are raised there, or is there a more?
Definitely. The cultural thing here is like rules are rules, right? You have to follow everything. You have to follow everything. You cannot break. Even in fact, for example, I was learning driving here, and
Oh, that's a story. That's a
yeah,
story.
yeah, and I mean, if you, let's say, drink and driving is so common in India. Let's talk about it, right? People do that, right? But here like when I tell this thing, drink and driving, you accept it, right? It's there, right?
Hmm.
But if I tell this to a German, drink and driving, he will not accept it. He's like, you have to go to asylum, you have to, not asylum, sorry, you have to go to
Hmm. Prison.
mental hospital, or you are not fit to even
Hmm.
talk about this, to even think about this. This is not
It's a
possible.
big taboo. It's a big taboo in
They
there.
will say this is not possible. If I say no, this is possible, you drink and you drive.
Oh, for them it's not possible at all.
Oh,
Okay,
Fundamentally,
that's
it's not
crazy,
possible.
dude.
so that is not in their frame of
Hardcore.
mind.
That this is possible.
Yeah, it is not in their frame of
I
mind
mean-
that something like this can ever happen. I mean,
Shubham, yeah.
yeah.
Shubham, how's the? I mean, since you've done a bit of your startup there, like you've tried your hands there, then you've also transitioned towards a uh, like job scenario with a startup. So if anyone who's studying here in India or who's working here in India, how's the tech scenario there in Germany or in Europe in general? And what is your advice or suggestion for someone who's aspiring to go there? Is there a should they go via MBA route or a master's route like you did, or is there another way?
Or bachelors.
Or bachelor's route?
And also, since 2023 is hardcore recession, what advice would you give to our viewers who are looking actually to migrate to Germany to look out for tech jobs?
Yeah.
Essentially, how should they approach this uncertainty which is going to come, or it's already like midway,
Like first is general scenario.
Yeah.
How should someone look at Germany or Europe in general? And second is recession related, which
Yes.
is different. Yeah.
uh, I see many Indians, they come here for work, right? Studies, yes. For work, yes. And then most of them, they go back because of the cultural difference, and mainly because of the language. So
Hmm.
first of all, German is very difficult to learn. right? Even me, I've spent like 3 years. My level is A2 right now, and I have to be at B1 to get the PR over here. But that's a different story. So you need to be very good with German. Tech is an exception because most of the companies, they are okay if you speak in English. But of course, if you want to climb the ladder, right? You want to become VP, for example, you should know German. And talk about different domains apart from tech. I don't think you will be able to survive here if you don't know the German. So if you are looking from long term perspective to come to Germany, first learn German, right? And then come here for sure. Second, for tech, if you want to start your own company, right? I think India would be the best place to start your own company, definitely at this point of time. But yeah, if you think you want to take exposure, you want to, let's say, create some nice products in mechanical, right? Automobile domain, or all these different manufacturing, especially domains, then I think yes, Germany again is a good area where you can come. But again, for those domains you need German, right?
Yeah.
And you can do masters here. All the Germans, they prefer someone who has expertise, right? So they don't like people who are like managers,
Mm.
product managers and stuff. It's a very new concept, right? Even MBA is a very new concept here. It's not
Is
well,
it?
yeah,
Wow.
MBA is a very new concept here. It's not well recognized. They like masters, students who have done masters, and they have a particular expertise.
Hmm.
uh, I definitely recommend people who want to be a subject expert to come here and do the masters. MBA is getting recognition day by day, slowly, gradually, with all the tech companies, because tech companies, they do need product managers, right? They do need a VP, but don't expect it to be like US, where just after getting after MBA you will be placed as VP in a big company. That's not going to happen here. They will look at your experience. So it's not like that you have done BSc BCom, you have done MBA here, and then they will make you a product manager.
Hmm.
Not
Correct. So you need to become a subject matter expert in order to
definitely,
get into the ranks and something.
definitely.
What's
Yeah.
something which you, okay, I mean, this everything which you have told about, what's something which you really enjoyed about Germany, which was new for you coming from India? Something which you thought was, I wish it was there back home also.
Something new about Germany.
I mean, something which you enjoy about Germany the most. You wish it was there in, say, in India also, in Delhi or Bangalore or wherever.
Openness.
What do you mean by openness?
Not
Yeah, I agree.
So you need to become a subject matter expert in order to
definitely,
get into the ranks and something.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Something which you, okay, I mean, this everything which you have told about, what's something which you really enjoyed about Germany, which was new for you coming from India? Something which you thought was, I wish it was there back home also.
Something new about Germany.
Something which you enjoy about Germany the most. You wish it was there in, say, in India also, in Delhi or Bangalore.
Openness. You can be
What do you mean
yourself.
by openness?
Openness is you can be yourself, and of course, there are many things behind this openness. When I say, first of all, the family is not around you, right? But even if I see Germans, there's no pressure from families. You can be yourself. You want to do whatever you want to do, you can achieve that. You just follow your passion, right? In India, there's a lot of pressure, and from the society also, people are judging each other. And I think that's one of the thing here. I feel very open. You can do whatever you want to do. um, Plus, there's a lot of support from the government. I mean, in India, if you are brilliant, you are amazing, you have no, let's say, um, disability, right? Physically you are good, mentally you are good, you can achieve whatever you want to do. But let's say you lose your job, right? Something happens to you, the health system, right? The negative side, I'm talking about negative side. It's very easy to live a miserable life in India then, because the government will not help you, no one will help you. But in Germany, the government is there to take care of you. right? So we always look at the bright side, but there's a side where which is not in your hand. So
No, I absolutely agree with
failure
you. I
can
mean,
happen anytime. So here, if you
yeah.
fail, you can bounce back because the government will help you. They will pay you. They will give you a place to live, and then using those resources, you can bounce back.
No, I agree with
Same
Shubham
in
a lot.
US, it's
I
very
think
difficult to bounce back.
Yeah, you're saying the taxes which are paid are actually used for the welfare of people. Is that what you mean?
Nay, and plus on top of it, I think this is a known statistic that every year more than million people in India actually fall below the poverty line because of the medical bills, and so that's the problem of
Yeah, healthcare system is
that's another story itself. But when you were talking about Germany, something that really popped in my mind was like I have seen a lot of manufacturers in India, specifically Delhi, NCR, and all. And the most mind-boggling thing for me is they're still importing 1980s, 1990s machines and putting them up to use right now, and that is still giving the output for them to be profitable over here.
yeah.
So that is insane. Even the submarines, for the matter of fact, or no, actually, not defense, but a lot of other manufacturing part.
Mercedes.
That's from Russia. That's from Russia. But
I mean, Mercedes is German. End of story.
The whole car
They rule
manufacturing,
it.
right? Exactly. BMW, Volkswagen. A
Yeah,
lot
but-
of these guys are like essentially German cars have caught up.
Cutting edge technology,
definitely,
in terms of producing
So-
hardware.
Shubham, I have a question here.
Yes.
You have to tell me. Shubham, so my thing is whenever I travel to a new country, my favorite place, one of the favorite places to visit are actually general stores, okay? Because whatever brands I see tells a lot about people. So if I'm going to a country that loves spicy food, I'll see a lot of spicy ramen, right? On the tracks. So you are in Celerix. You are day in, day out in touch with so many brands. Please give me a glimpse of what is the consumer brand trends in Germany, because I've built a good brand in India, but tell me to do the same in Germany. I mean, it would be very different, right? There is no one fit success. So I really am curious about consumer brand trends. Like, is it millennial dominant now? Is it Gen Z dominant? Is it mostly the profit pool lies with older people? What about fashion? What do people consume now? Is there a change in coffee choices? You get the gist of it, right? Where is the consumer brand as a market going?
And also, how would you tie that to the familial understanding of family as a concept? Because you said things are very individualistic there instead of a very society led kind of family system. So, is that also a matter of fact into the new consumer choices? Does that take effect? So, what do you see? Like, how do you see that when you go out?
Yeah, so there are two questions. So first, I'll talk about the brands. It's very difficult to make a product, launch a product in Germany because of the strict regulations by the government. In India, you can make a product, and you do not have to pass all of the tests or I don't know
You
audits.
don't need GST. You can just start selling.
Exactly. And once you become bigger, then probably you might think about audits, getting all the certificates. But here things are pretty different. Even if you make a, let's say, food at your house, Paras, and you want to sell it to 10 people outside, right? You cannot legally do that. Like the whole concept of Zomato, where people are cooking food at their home and selling, they have opened restaurants in their home and they are openly selling on Zomato so easily. It's not possible here. You need to have a license. You need to have a license. And same goes with launching any new product in consumer space, in beverages, right? Let's talk about beverages because you were talking about coffee. So it's not that easy, and you get need to get license, and also those chemical tests. I don't know the name of these tests, right? They have to be approved by the government, and that's not easy. Plus the competition, because here there are not Perchun, I don't know how to say, small
Local department stores.
local department stores. I don't see them, local department stores. You have big massive grocery stores, right? Lidl, Aldi, Edeka, right? And they have monopoly, right? So you, of course, don't want to start your own grocery store. That's a complete different business. You want to make the product, and now you want to place those products at a very good position in those grocery stores. That's also not possible because
How about
they have
online?
been occupied with by the big companies, big manufacturing companies like Henkel, and most of the products are coming from third world countries, right? They are not being made here. They are being made in China. They are being made in I don't know, South Africa, India. Even the waste goes to third world countries. So Germany is definitely relies on Germany relies on other countries in terms of manufacturing. There are of course few manufacturing plants here. There's a big company like Henkel which is producing a lot of soap, detergents, and all the F&B brands as well, products as well. But most of them are coming from Poland, which is very close to Germany and doesn't have a very strong economy compared to Germany. Uh, so that's the state. But if I talk about young people, talking to the second part, which Chirag asked, young people, things are now changing in terms of the choices. So Germans are very, I would say, conservative, right? They like this, so they want this. They like to eat this, so they want this in their breakfast. But with cosmopolitan culture coming, especially in Berlin, if you go, you don't feel like you are in Germany. One day, if you are in an Indian neighborhood, you will see Sheila Ki Jawani song, right? All those songs. And in train, you might hear someone talking in Hindi, someone talking in Arabic, someone talking in different language. It's very cosmopolitan. It's very international. And even the Germans living there, they speak in English, and English is a very it's well accepted. But it's not like in other part of Germany where people still prefer to talk in German even when they know English, right? So things are changing now, and especially with the tech and all the digital products coming into this space, and all of people like us, young people using technology, their choice is now also going international. They have started adopting international brands, even for fashion. Zara is like is also a very famous brand here. H&M.
So you mean a lot of people who are coming out of outside of Germany in Germany are actually bringing or like setting up the path for new brands or outside brands to come in because of the adoption in the like mass adoption.
Adoption rate is going up.
Adoption.
Yeah.
So at Celerex, are you guys acquiring brands based out of Germany or generally it's
Everywhere. Most of the brands are in Germany, but then in US, yes, and now we want to expand to China, Asia, Japan.
So, in terms of 2023, since recession is coming, what do you predict, Shubham, can be the ideology of Cerelac? Like it is sitting on cash and just like it would like mop the floor with brands and then pick them up at really discounted prices as a strategy, or would it wait out the storm that let the recession pass away? Then we will look at what kind of brands are getting traction, and then we will pick and choose. So, what do you see?
Also, first question.
I would say
So,
we were
what
very
did you see?
we were very slow back in 2022. We didn't acquire a lot of brands compared to the number of brands we acquired in 2021. So 23 we have good money. We are sitting on a good pile of money. We have cash, so I'm sure we will acquire some brands. Not as aggressive as 21, but now with clear strategy, looking at the price differentiator also, that we want to lie in this area where our products are in category of not very cheap products like $10, $20, but in a good range. Our focus is of course on middle class people, because they are many in Germany, right? You have probably the rich class around 5%. 40-60% are coming in middle range, because here you see there's a partiality in income. So our focus in that range, and for sure we'll be acquiring few more brands. And because since we didn't acquire last year, we have now let's say a very long queue of due diligence going on, and probably we'll see a few more brands.
Makes sense. Perfect. That's actually very smooth strategy in terms of like you. So what I understand is you guys will sit on cash and you'll pick your bets very strategically instead of the hyper growth or the blitz scaling that you were doing in the first or the second year.
But guys, don't you think that, whatever Shubham just shared, this huge barrier to entry for new players to come in, or if they have to come in, they have to come with a huge team or with a lot of money. So do you think this tough barrier to entry is reducing innovation in a way, or experimentation?
Not really. I will tell you why. Because a lot of these guys are still coming in and buying startups only, right? So a lot of startups will now have an exit opportunity because of them. So there will be easy for them to start off at an early stage because they're not starting off a new brand or a new category. So a lot of people have the opportunity to start something. Now they have an exit opportunity which is available to them, which was not earlier available to them. So a lot of small mom and pop shops can now come online, and it could be handicrafts, right? It could be just say someone who's building customized keychains and becomes really big, and it's something which interests seller X and they can buy that. It could be that too. So you can have a lot of innovation happening at a lower level rather than at a serious level. And as an entrepreneur, you do look like an exit.
But I've always noticed, Manik, that in these kind of brand plays, people have always said that these kind of house of brands acquire property assets on other e-commerces. For example, if my brand has a great rating and a great attraction on Amazon,
that's what
suddenly
I would
only
say.
then
Listing
I'm,
is the asset.
Listing is the asset.
the
Only
asset.
then I am lucrative. However, for people like you're saying, mom and pop shops who are, let's say, run on Shopify, and I have my own D2C and I am not very platform dependent like Amazon or Flipkart or Etsy or eBay.
No, even mom and pop shops can sell on Amazon, right?
No,
They
of
have
course
an
they
incentive
can.
now.
They can sell, but if I don't have an asset, like if I don't have
Yeah,
a
they
great
have to build a
traction,
brand.
absolutely on the marketplace, but I could be a great brand in D2C, then I'm not very lucrative suddenly for these out of brands.
No,
Like,
But now people have
imagine, right? Like it's easier to build a brand on Amazon because there are millions of customers there searching for what you're looking to sell.
it's easier to get ratings on Amazon.
get
and
ratings.
build
I
a
wouldn't
listing
say,
on Amazon.
I wouldn't say it's easier to build a brand on Amazon.
Not
because
brand, but
brand
listing
is
on.
but
yeah.
But listing is easier, right?
But
So-
in order to get
so
acquired,
should-
you don't-
What I hear Manik saying and what I relate to is that because the upside of building a brand has become faster, not just bigger but faster, more importantly, can really incentivize a lot more people to start up despite the initial hiccups or the barriers that exist currently with respect to certifications, etc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
But thanks a lot, Shubham. That was fantastic, man, to get the Germany's perspective onto the new
I mean,
tech
it's a very
scene.
long topic, Chirag, so probably
Yeah.
we'll need to spend another 2 hours to
Sure.
talk through because
We should
it's
definitely do a
not-
part two. We should definitely do a part two of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but lovely.
Not pick because we picked so many topics today.
Yeah.
Right? We couldn't talk about one particular. Let's say we talk about seller X and brand. That itself will take 40-50 minutes. Right now, if I go back like what I talked about in last 40 minutes, it's a lot, right? About journey.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Shubham. Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
buddy.
man.
Yeah.
Bye.